Alrighty, what we're doing here is a cat on a 2006 Toyota 4Runner with the 4.7 liter V8. The cat on this guy, I got the P0420 code. First thing I did was change the lower O2 sensor, the downstream they call it, because that's pretty common to cause faulty readings. And it's pretty cheap, it's like 60 bucks, so did that first. Real easy, maybe about 5-10 minutes. Just underneath the car there is accessibility to it, so you just would crawl underneath there and get this guy right. Let me show you right here. Only takes a couple minutes to pop that guy out, so did that first, but unfortunately that was not the fix. So next thing you do is move on to the cat. And P0420 on the 4Runner, usually it's going to be the bank 1 or the driver's side. So to get that guy out, you want to do a few things. You want to take your wheel off, jack it up so you have access. There's some little access flaps right here. You want to take this one loose, and then also this guy loose. Then you're going to be able to get into your manifold here. Going to be 8 bolts, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom. And this car has 4 catalytic converters. They have the upstream, which has an O2 sensor, and that's what does the monitoring. And then you have the downstream, which is called a resonator. Unfortunately, they don't have any aftermarket ones available, so you got to buy a genuine Toyota in California, anyways. That's where I live, so it's about 650 bucks for just the standard cat, which is upstream. The resonator is about 1,200–1,300 bucks, but usually that's not going to be your problem. But it does kind of regulate the back pressure in the system, so there's potential that it could need to be replaced. But the monitoring, what makes the check engine light come on and what will allow it to not pass smog, is going to be this upstream one. So that's what I'm replacing today. But before you can get to these 8 bolts to get your manifold out, there's 2 heat shields. Those little boogers are just about as hard to get off as the bolts. So one of them I just have laying down in here, and then the other one is this little guy over here. So you get all those bolts loose and shields loose, and there's this little tube. It's an Equalizer Tube. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's right here. And you take 2 little nuts off of that guy, and then you have everything loose, but it won't come out. So what you gotta do, you gotta climb up here, and this is, oh man, this is a tricky little booger to get off, but you can do it. So you have to have a long, really skinny socket, and it's I think it was a number 10. That's what it was. And you have to reach back here to the back of the engine. So you come in from the side here, and you can't even see it, but you have to first there's 2 plugs loose, right here, and then below those 2 plugs you have to loosen them up. Don't take them all the way out, but loosen them maybe halfway. Way down in there there's 2 nuts. Loosen those 2 nuts to this hard hose, this little hose that goes over to your top of your manifold, and then it'll scoot back just enough where it can come out down below the bottom. So that's what you got to do to get that guy out, and it is a pretty good little job, but they want a lot to do this. And then you also need to there is a bracket back here, and that's what holds your exhaust on. So you want to make sure you know, this video's shaky, sorry guys, but you can get the point what you gotta do. So there's two bolts back here. Let's see, right here, these are the ones. So once you loosen these 2, and it'll loosen up your exhaust just enough where the cat, here's a new one I'm about ready to put back up in there. We'll go back up in there, and you want to make sure you get the the manifold, because these are one-time use gaskets. So you got one that's going to be small and it's going to come down here. It's going to hook up. This little guy hooks up right here. This little one does. And the dealer part number is that one. Got the OEM one. And then here's your crush gasket for behind the manifold. Part number, whatever that guy is. So that goes behind the manifold. Now there's also one really, really little gasket. But I asked the guys at the dealer if this is the one that's that tube, if they change it. And it goes, here's the old manifold. But it goes right there. And then also on the back, that little thing back there that we took loose, that hose, there's one in between there, but they said their mechanics never change those. You're welcome to change them, but that one, especially behind the engine block, that would be a nightmare to change it. And it's just an equalizer line, so it's not going to really hurt much if you don't change it, is what they're telling me anyway. So anyways, I got about maybe probably 3-4 hours in on it, and it's ready to go back together. What I always do anytime I have manifolds loose, I put some little rags in there, blow it all out, make sure like there's quite a bit of dust and dirt up around there. So I'm going to blow it really good with the air compressor, and then I take a really fine grit sandpaper and just make sure that I'm going to get a good contact back on my intake, my exhaust manifold here. Sorry, not intake, my exhaust manifold, because otherwise you'll hear a tick. It'll be like a ticking sound that it's leaking, and then it can actually, if it leaks bad enough, cut a hole in your exhaust head right there. So anyways, I always just take the couple minutes to do that. So anyways, hopefully that helps somebody, and wish you the best.